Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to today's Simply Together show. Fun packed as always, absolutely is. And I'm hoping everyone's got their fluids and their shades on, and you're not burning because it's hot. We know it's hot. It's hot. So my co-host today is the lovely Samara. How are you doing, love?
Hi, I'm well, thank you. How are you?
We have some other co-hosts as well, I think.
We do. We have Azari here as well, and Araya, just to help me out in case I lose track of what I'm trying to say. No, but I've decided, obviously, as you mentioned about the heat, Cecile, I've decided to keep them off nursery and school just because it was the safest option at the time. So,
Exactly. Best thing to do. So, we've got little guests with us as well. So we've got the lovely Louise Clark, who's going to be talking with Samara first. How are you doing, Louise?
I'm really good. Yeah, I'm in the heat. And also, Samara, I kept my teenager off today because it was just too hot for her. So I'm with you in that camp. But yeah, I'm really good. Yes.
Excellent. So I'm going to leave Samara with you, and then I will come back on a little bit later. So see you soon. Over to you, Samara.
Hi. So, I'm going to be chatting to you, Louise. So I'm going to kind of hand over to you just so you can tell us a little bit about yourself, because I don't really know much either, which I quite like sometimes. Sometimes I like to look into the people I'm going to speak to, but I feel like it's more authentic if I'm taken by surprise as well, because I literally have no idea. So I think it's quite nice because then I can just ask you some questions afterwards, if that's okay. Off by letting us know what it is that you do.
So I came on probably at the beginning of the year, and it's been a crazy year for me. So I came on when I was just starting my coaching business. So a bit of background, I was involved with crime from the age of 9. I went through domestic violence, drug addictions, went to prison, and then kind of changed my life completely, got my law degree and got my master's, and worked on some of the biggest campaigns in the world. So I worked on FIFA World Cup, Rise as One campaign. I worked on Champions League. So I kind of completely changed my life. And then in 2019, I got hit with a blow. My daughter was involved in something. She got involved in something, and I won't say too much because it's not my story to tell. But what it resulted in was her being charged with possession of a firearm and going to prison. So at that point, I had to really look at what I was doing in my life, because I changed my life. But when that happened, and her being released from prison, it showed me just how archaic the system is and the lack of support that there is for young people. And there was so I went on and worked for an organisation. I was their chief operating officer for a CIC and for also their group of companies. And that working with ex-offenders, doing that transition from custody to community, and just helping with education and all of that kind of stuff. But since then, I decided to launch out on my own because I had some more, obviously, with life, things get chucked at you and thrown at you. So I ended up taking up coaching, and I've been doing that. So in the last year, I've been doing coaching, one-to-one and group coaching. But my passion is supporting young people, but understanding why they do stuff in the first place, because there's so many preventative measures. There's so many measures now that rectify a problem when the problem has started, but actually what are they being taught? So my kind of mission is so I'm developing programs at the moment. So my coaching business is going well, one-to-one and group coaching, but I've also developed 5 programs that are going through CPD. And they are looking at things like emotional intelligence for children. So looking at around obviously going into work, family and relationships, but understanding their thoughts, feelings and their actions, and then developing tools and strategies to help them cope, so that they're understanding their mind before they go on and make the wrong choice or make choices that they probably wouldn't do had they got the right information around. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
So you're someone that looks more into intervention before things really, like you said, so before things get bad, basically. Because like you said, there's a lot of things that take place as in a rehabilitation, right? It's more of a rehabilitation once the problems have occurred rather than noticing patterns in a person or whatever and trying to tackle it there and then, which I can understand because I've seen things like that in the past. Well, like prevention, they always say prevention is better than cure, isn't it? Because obviously then these people then have to heal from these things when they, you know, go through certain situations. So I can hear that obviously from what you're saying is that you've started these things based on your own experiences.
Yeah, and what I've done is where I've kind of looking at, so the system has to change. This is a system change. This isn't get me sorting a business out to get funding to run pilots. I'm looking at tackling the system. So one of the programs that I'm doing is around toxic relationships for kids, because that, and if you look at the strategy for tackling violence against women and girls, which has been put through Parliament, and ironically, my brief was Victoria Atkins, who is the person that spearheaded that campaign. She's the MP behind it. Was the Minister for Prisons until just recently. And I'm looking at, so what I've done is I've gone through that strategy line by line by line by line. I've picked out exactly what they want, and I'm going to deliver, my programs deliver that. So so I've just seen a question come up there about going into schools. So so one of my pilots, so I've been given an opportunity on one of my programs, which will start the back end, so in the autumn, is to go into schools in London, and that's through the Met, so through Hertfordshire Police and the Met, because it needs to be done at, I want it done at a pilot in London, because if you can work it in London, it can be put out around the country. And I'm thinking, if somebody like Joe Wicks, who's great, who's absolutely amazing, but had a really good business model, can go in and change it and get go into schools at that level, why can't we do it with emotional support? Why can't we do it with coaching? So my program is about developing, they spend so much time on history lessons. Do they actually need that? No, they really don't. But what they do need is they need life skills to be able to go forward as an adult, that gives them the best, opportunity to be able to understand themselves. Because when you look at the cycle, and when people go into prison, they need mental health support. They need rehabilitation. They need to understand themselves first. So I've got a bit of I don't want to get on my high horse, but I'm really, really passionate about it. So yes, I am going into schools, and
get on it, because we need people like you. By the sounds of it, like you said, you're doing more the intervention work, which is really, really important.
Yeah. So I've done 2 sides. So I'm building myself, because I feel like I need to have a name. So I've met Tony Robbins recently, the big American life coach, and I met him, and then the last week I had the opportunity to work under him at one of his events. So I spent 60 hours Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. I was looking after 400 people, and I was observing them to understand what troubles they faced. So I'm now going under his leadership program, because I've got an interview with Forbes, which is my big one in August, because I feel that there needs to be a person behind a movement. So I'm kind of trying to get my voice. My podcast launched this week, and then I'm doing all of my work as another business that I've set up called Keeping Ahead. So
that's amazing. So when you go into schools, what age bracket are you looking to tackle? Or do you feel like, or do you have different sessions for different ages to kind of try and tackle as many age ranges as possible? How does it work for you?
So ideally, it's so that the high school program is at the moment, and that's going to be early from year 7. Yeah. So it'll be within their like the PHSC there, and it will be a slow introduction, and what it builds up as they go, because obviously people, different needs as they get older. But before they leave school, everyone has a sort of 6 weeks coaching session to be able to understand what it is that about them, understand what they want to go on and do, and prepare them for adult life, because there's not enough preparation for that. But if we can, I'd ideally love to get into schools earlier, into junior schools, and that will be my aim. But I've got to start somewhere, so it's starting at high school at a very, very young age. So year 7.
Okay, so it's straight from the word go then, really, from go. Because there's some ones that I've, when I was in school, I feel old when I say this now. I know I'm not old, but I feel old because I left school, high school 11 years ago now, which for me is a very long time. When I went to school, they started things like that from year 9, and that's when people are already starting to get into trouble. Some of the children are getting into trouble from year 7, 8. you know.
Well, we look at county lines now, and we look at the age of people that are being exploited. They're not even, some of them aren't even in high school.
Yeah.
When I look now back at my life, I was 9 years old when I first got involved into crime. And I've just seen something come up from you around. So that's actually, I'll answer that in a second about the parents. So yeah, I got exploited from the age of 9. I look at it now. At the time, I didn't see it as exploitation, but that was in junior school. So ultimately, I want to get into there, but it's about making sure that I've got the right information for that person at that time, that I'm not giving too much, but I also have it a little bit further in depth should that person need it, because it's got to be done in a way that you don't bring something into their mind, but if it's already there, we deal with it, and there's appropriate framework for them to have and a program to follow.
Yeah. See, was you going to answer the question about the parents?
I was about, do I work with parents? So
Yeah.
yes. So actually, one of the things that I've been doing, and this is in South London, is I've got a program where I support parents that are going through it. So this has been a voluntary pilot that I've been doing to support people like myself whose children have been involved in crime, that go through they have so many thoughts and feelings that they range from, you know, feeling like a failure, feeling anger, feeling sadness, feeling not knowing how to cope, not knowing where to go for support. So then people that are children are on the cusp or getting involved and they just don't know what to do or where to go. So I work with them to signpost. And one of my CPD courses is I've developed it for HR teams. So employers know what it's like to hire somebody that's has got a criminal background or a past that has been, you know, like a lived experience past, how companies can cope with that and do that transition correctly, because that's the failure that I found when I worked in my last organisation.
Yeah, because I mean,
that's loads going on.
That's another thing I was going to ask you, or like get your views on, is because, you know, there's been history, you know, even with people that I know, friends or whatever, past friends or whatever, that have not been able to get a job because of their criminal past. And obviously then that's kind of been the reason why people recommit, like they're recommitting crimes and stuff like that, because they feel like they're stuck in the same place and not being given any, you know, fair opportunity or fair shot to stay on the right path, you know. So it's obviously a good thing. Again, it's a great thing that you're doing what you're doing, because it kind of supports those that are in that position to kind of encourage them, you know, to stay on the right path. If they're struggling to get a job, if they're struggling to do these things, then they're more likely to reoffend.
Absolutely. There is so they're trying to move that. There was a real stigma about employing people who are ex-offenders, and I've seen about Timpson's, yes, they do run a program, and Greg's, and there's numerous people that do. And actually, when we're looking at their corporate responsibility now, their CSR and what's come down from the government, a lot of them need to invest into the community, and that's where this kind of comes in. But there is a lot of stigma around it, and there a lot of organizations, when they don't know how to handle it. So they don't know what the impact will be on other employers. So I've done talks with the Lord Mayor of London. I did an event with him. I did it with the councils up in Liverpool, and I worked with the prisons, and we did a few webinars, which I can find the links to and send you guys, but they were about changing employers' perceptions on offenders. Yeah. So we run ROTL programs in my last organisation, which is released on temporary licence. So I'm really familiar with this, but I do feel that then, so what my flaw was actually, there's not enough education for employers. They're told we need to do this because it's part of CSR. We want to seem to be leading the way. But actually the people in HR haven't got a clue. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to manage it. If somebody's got probation, what do they do? How do they give them time off for that? So it's about giving them the education that they need, because ultimately, if normally their strategy is to reduce churn for their business. They don't want to have loads of people coming in because it's really costly. So actually what you need to do is manage your workforce properly. So if you've got ex-offenders in, or people that are care leavers as well, so the program, and that's CPD accredited for HRs, which is done, it's gone through. So that's there for them ready to take and do. Yeah.
Is there any advice you would give, if you could give any advice to your younger self, or if you could say something to your younger self, what would you say?
It's a really good question. Really, really good question, because where I am now is exactly where I'm meant to be. So I've gone through everything that I've gone through to be able to have a voice, to be able to help young people. But I would say that like your past doesn't define you, and you might have, whatever you've gone through in life doesn't define you. It's about how you move forward, and you can, if you believe in yourself, you can do anything that you want to achieve. So, and yeah, that's kind of what I'd say, because I think it's difficult. It's a good question, but I always get kind of challenged by it, because I'm like, right, well, I probably wouldn't say anything because I'm where I'm meant to be now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's built you into the person that you are, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
So kind of like everything for a reason. I think that's kind of what people say.
Yeah.
But
I will say one thing, is that when people are looking at the life of crime or building a business, people like, business is business. So if you are going down a road of crime, when you look at what your business model is and the skills that you learn from that, if you're doing an illegal business, chances are all of those skills are transferable into a legal business. And when you look at blood, sweat and tears, and the amount of time you go into it, those transferable skills, is that you really can build your business based on the skills that you have. So you might not have a qualification. I got expelled 15 times. I got suspended 15 times, expelled 3. I left with no qualifications. I've now got a law degree, a master's in international HR management, but my life experience, my transferable skills are far more important than that piece of paper that I've got. You know, so I kind of feel like, you know, you can achieve anything that you want to do if you put your mind to it and you're focused.
What would you say your plans are now for the next, or where do you, so you know, you've said that you are where you're meant to be now. Where do you want to be, or where do you expect to be in, let's say, 2 years, 3 years time? Okay,
so I've got big goals. Like and nothing is. I wish I could spin the camera around and show you my room, but I have got stuff all over. So I have a business that I'm launching, which is Keeping Ahead. So ultimately, it's keeping ahead. It's 2 things. It's about keeping ahead and being forward thinking, but also being able to keep your head. I want programs run out throughout every school in the UK. And that is about managing your emotional intelligence, being able to handle and understand your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and those emotions and what the actions and the consequences of your decisions and stuff. So I want that, and I want legislation changed.
Yeah, which is a big one, isn't it? Really,
it comes from the system down. It's from the top down. Yes, I've got big goals. Yeah,
it's not you can't achieve, because I mean, you obviously, like you said, you're where you're meant to be now, but look where you've come from. And I feel like that's something that we always have to be mindful of, because sometimes us as human beings can say, even if they don't feel like, I've been in positions where I don't feel like I'm where I should be, but I feel like that's based on me looking at other people like in the past, seeing, okay, but they're this age, they're the same age as me, and they've got XYZ, or they're doing X, Y, and Z. But I just feel like our paths are our paths, you know. So obviously, like you said, you're where you're meant to be, and there's a long way still for us all to go as people. Yeah. But you know, it's hats off to you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, my Keeping Ahead. So there's loads of courses, but ultimately it will be about helping the youth get the skills that they need to go forward to have the best life. That's where I want to be.
Sorry, just asking for.
All right.
As usual. Every time what Samara doesn't know, I've known Louise since she was a teenager, and every time you come on or I see you at an event, there's something else that you're putting out there that kind of just blows my mind again. So yeah, just absolutely fabulous. And getting into the schools is just it's needed.
Massively needed.
Brilliant. You know, get in there in London. Like you said, if you can do it in London, then it can go everywhere.
Yeah. And I have to shout, there's an organisation called the AP Foundation. It's Andrew Pritchard Foundation. He's based in London. He's changing the way. He works with ex-offenders and people that are going down the bad path, and a lot of youth. And he's done programs around music, around so music, film studies, all the different things that other organisations aren't doing. He's got a real passion for supporting people. So we're going to collaborate on some of that as well. There's some really good pilots around getting some stuff across the UK. But it's an exciting time, and it's needed. And it's looking at where the gaps are, and where my professional knowledge and my understanding of the legal system comes in is I'm going for strategies. I'm looking at what their strategies are, and I'm crossing that to what I want to deliver, you know.
And that's the whole point, though, isn't it? Because it's about lived experience. It's about using the skills that you've already got, and you've developed all of those over years of working within corporate. Put it back in, share that, and that's exactly what you're doing. So that's absolutely brilliant. I'm just so chuffed for you. I really am, and just the fact that you're going to be supporting where you live. Yes. And the people that you know, or the children of the people that you know, and just putting it back out there.
It's so important to me, because when that happened to my daughter, it really brought home like battles that they're facing. And when we were younger, we faced different battles, you know. Yeah. And what they're facing now it's worse. It's a worse time, I feel. You know, there's a lot harder battles with social media and all of that, and that instant gratification, that image and that status that you've got to have. So there's a lot more for them, and I just want them to be able to have to understand a little bit more about themselves, so that they can, you know, control or move forward better. But yeah,
wonderful.
Such a great opportunity to have a chat with you, because I love hearing people's stories, you know, and different backgrounds of where they've come from. So you're really inspiring.
Thank you. And that's what I want to do, is I want to inspire people that, look, I left with school with nothing. I went through drug addictions, you know, I went to prison myself. I took heroin and crack for quite a period of time. So, you know, you can change your life around if you want to. And that's kind of what I want to teach people, is that just because you've got a past, that doesn't define anything. If anything, that adds to you, that gives you more skills, more character. That's built resilience in you, that if you can learn to apply it in the right way, the world is your oyster. You can go after anything that you want, you know. And that's kind of where what I'm planning to do. So, but thank you for giving me again an opportunity to speak, because it's such a great opportunity to use platforms like this. So thank you.
You're somebody who is like the blueprint of, you can change your life around if you want to, like, because, you know, people need to remember you have to be willing as well, because you know, it's the same as saying you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped, but you obviously really wanted that for yourself and for your future, you know. And obviously you're somebody who is, you deserve to be in the places and rubbing shoulders with the people that you are, because you've earned that. You've worked on yourself, you know. So, and you're helping other people as well. But there's a question to say, how can we get a hold of you? So social media and stuff like that.
Social media, I've got louiseclark.com, and I've got my Instagram and my Facebook and stuff. If you go on louiseclark.com, there's actually a diary thing in there where you can just literally schedule a call and stuff, and we can have a call.
Wonderful. Absolutely brilliant. And Forbes, really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because of this stuff with Tony Robbins, and this is my point, I've kind of had to go look at this from a different point of view, and I thought, right, and they approached me because Tony Robbins approached me through one of the groups I was in on Facebook, and he reached out, his team did, and when I thought that, I thought, right, I'm going for that, because that then gives me authority, and if I've got that, then when I go forward, when I'm having conversations in the Met and I'm having conversations with people, legislators, they can see that actually I've got authority elsewhere, and they're more inclined to get me to the because once I just need to get that interview, I just need to get in that room. I'll sell myself, I'll show you, I'll give you everything, but I just need to get in the room. So if they can see that and they think, actually, who is she? I want her in. I'll do the rest of it. I'm done. I'll get you, you know, I'll be in there. I'll blow you away with my strategies and my, you know, my programs and stuff. But it's just getting through that door, and that's why I'm exploring different routes, because that's
fantastic. I know that Dee is going to get you on the Real Talk show at some point, so I know she's going to contact you and get you on there as well. So thank you. I'm just going to quickly have a talk about what we did on Saturday, which you missed because you was with royalty, Tony Robbins, for goodness sake.
So sorry, you got
she's a celeb. I know. We're gonna have to book you years in advance, aren't we?
I'll always have time for you. You got exclusives from me, so you'll always have time. I'll always have time for you guys. Definitely,
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So don't disappear. Don't disappear.
No, I won't do. Thank you.
So I'm just gonna have a little chat about what we did on Saturday. So Saturday we had a health and well-being event. Which we held at Futures Marsh Farm. How is it?
Marsh Farm Futures. It was at
Marsh Farm Futures.
I know.
Absolutely brilliant. It was absolutely phenomenal. And it's the first of many.
I would say it was a seed planter. That's what we're calling it. It was a seed planter. So there was about 20 stands. Ranging from statutory orgs to some people like Denise Coates, Lyndon Wissart, breast cancer and diabetes type 2, with that lived experience that they could share with people that were coming through. We obviously had yourself, Cecile, running a fibromyalgia
workshop.
And we can talk because our second guest didn't show, and this is the beauty, we keep it moving. So tell us just a little bit about the workshop, and I don't know if there's anything else that you want to share or can share. So just
what are you like? So yes, so I did a workshop on fibromyalgia, diagnosed about 6 years ago with fibromyalgia. And it's one of those illnesses that it's classed as a hidden illness. Not a lot of people know about it. Lots of things to learn. I am not the font of all knowledge about it, but I did a workshop, and very nervous. A couple of people came, then a few more. Oh my God, was I nervous? But it was fine. It was fine. And on the back of that, the manager at Marsh Farm Futures House, Kathy, has asked me to set up a support group, fibromyalgia support group, which I will be doing. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put my big girl pants on, and I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to do that. So look out, because I think hopefully sometime over the summer, that should then be up and running. Yeah. So it was brilliant.
Yeah, because there was a lady. Sorry. Yeah, there was a lady there, and she said she cannot believe she has looked everywhere locally for a fibromyalgia support group. And so just you running the workshop, she was kind of literally doing somersaults. She was so pleased. So I know there are people. Is this something that just a thought, as in like, with it being fibromyalgia, attending something, because obviously some people will be able to do that, but if that's something that either you could do like hybrid, that you could do online as well, so that those people can get involved,
of course,
even though they can't physically, if it's
Of course, because the basis of fibromyalgia is that your body is in constant pain, and some days are better, some days are worse. So the likelihood of everybody within this area who's got it coming to a support group is going to be quite low. So we need to do, online one as well.
Brilliant. Or even sort of like that event hybrid. Excellent. Don't you worry, we're going to support you. We'll support you. Excellent. Well done. Teresa Rhodes, who is part of the Simply Deez Life in the Lockdown crew, attended with her husband Peter. As always, they support, and hopefully she may be going into some of the organisations and sharing some of her poetry. There was some major connections made with the organisations, because the event was probably 2, 3, 4-fold, if I'm honest with you. Obviously, it was a case of, as in the public, being able to access information, a bit of a one-stop shop instead of having to go to prostate cancer or sexual health or find out about breast cancer, or, we had Flying Star, Early Alliance also as well. There's so many organisations that were there, and it's a rarity that you get so many in one place. Definitely. And part of it was for organisations to actually know who's around, or you may just be kind of liaising with them via email. But when you see people face to face, it does break down barriers. So that really was a big thing. for us on Saturday to break down some of those barriers, and for the organisations to, instead of working in silo, actually, maybe we can do things together. Maybe, exactly. I know somebody at Headway. I know people at the Disability Resource Centre. I know at the menopause. I know at resolutions or whoever it might be. And actually, you can then start signposting, as opposed to you've got somebody that may have an illness and it's like, oh, they've got something else. And like, actually, now I know. So on so many different levels, Saturday works. So we are absolutely thrilled. You're probably thinking, why haven't we not posted? There's loads to be sharing out and posting about that. People are going like, when's the next? That was said on the day, when was the next? And then Shelley bumped into Denise Coates, who is our survivor of breast cancer, and she dropped something else. There's plenty going on with Simply Deez, and people are like going, oh, I don't know. That's why you're supposed to sign up. That's why you're supposed to be following us. And we say all the time. And that way, then when there's opportunities, you'll be one of the first as opposed to one of the last. Because I had to say no to a few people on Saturday. So yeah, so we are still buzzing. The work continues. This Saturday, 30th of July, there is the Afrofest, which is happening at Manor Park. I do believe, so that's Munya, Pamtango Radio, AUK Radio, bringing a festival, the first that they've done. And as I said, it's Manor Park. There's food, there's music, there's exhibitors, there's stands, there's activities, there's dancing, loads and loads and loads of things going on Saturday. So yeah, what do they say when they say what space? Every single week we're bringing something, another. There's so many things that we're doing. The lovely Shelley, who is celebrating. Hi, Will. Happy birthday to you. I've been told not to sing, so I shall stop. Yes. So Shelley will be sharing her link. She's shared the newsletter link. Please sign up. As we showcase so many people, and we say follow them. Why would you not follow us? To find out more information. So obviously we're on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on YouTube also as well. I think. Do you want to say anything more right now, Cecile? Because what I want to do is just bring back our other host and our guest, the lovely Louise Carr. Let's bring them back on. Yay. Well done, Samara.
Sorry.
Are you indoors now?
It's boiling out there. I could literally only just.
I know, so I don't know why you're out there.
No,
Us olders, that's where age pays, because we could have told you don't go out there.
Yeah.
She's topping up her tan.
Topping up my tan.
Yeah, well, you'll get more than your tan, love, I'll tell you. Don't go out there. Don't go out there.
Myself, although I'm starting to peel now.
I don't care. Don't go out there.
Too hot. Sit in the cool.
Yes,
got my feet
definitely.
In
We're wrapping up now, so massive thanks to Samara, who is a newbie in terms of hosting, but you will see much more of this young lady. And this is what we do. If we can support people, we do in different areas. So please follow her also as well. And our guest, our main and only guest today, that somebody that really and truly could have done like my 3-hour show on Real Talk. We could have spent Tuesday the 2nd of August. Get it in your diary, my love. In the evening, I'm going to hit you up, as they say.
I can do that. I can do that. I'm just I am available, because so Tony Robbins, I'm doing his next. He gifted me as part of when I met him and doing the crew with his Life Mastery program, which I'm doing from the 3rd to the 7th, which again is going to be really intense, but it's learning about the body and ways in which your mental health affects your physiology. So I'm learning all about that. So that would be perfect to go, on the 2nd, I can do that. So I'll put that in the diary.
And do you know what?
Amazing.
Dee, so we were saying about obviously our second guest has obviously been busy, held up, whatever. Louise was meant to be here on her own. You was meant to be here. The show was meant to be for you.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it wouldn't have happened that way.
No.
And just like Samara's question about what would you have done differently, you're here and the way you are here is for a reason. So this was for you today.
Thank you. And thank you again for having me on. It's such a privilege to be able to be on this. And, you've given me support from the very beginning. And I'm eternally grateful for that, because for me, it's about telling as many people as I can across as many platforms as I can, because I have a big mission. I have a dream, and it's not a dream, it's a plan. I've got it written down. It's a plan. I've got steps. I've got goals. So being able to speak to you and tell you guys and your audience is just amazing. So thank you.
Well, you've got a new supporter now as well. So
brilliant. Thank you. And I'll keep posting what I've got going on in my programs, because I've got quite a few.
Definitely.
And they're all to help people from all different angles. And I'm doing it from a broad. It's not just the people that are suffering. It's how other people can help and support. So it's all encompassing. But thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Excellent. Which is why we always say share, because you just never know who's going to either see it. It might not be for you, but it might be for somebody you know. So please continue to share. So host Cecile, Samara, do you have anything more you want to add?
No, just I was actually
Thank you.
It was just a great pleasure, like, speaking to you, to be fair. And obviously it's very eye-opening as well, because you're someone else as well that kind of shows us that you just never know what someone's been through unless they actually open their mouth, because you carry yourself in such a way where, like, your story isn't right in front of your face, is it? Like, you actually have to express that. You actually have to sit down with us and tell us what's happened, because you're not wearing it. Yeah. Does that make sense? Like, it
does. Thank you, because really, that does mean a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm conscious of time, but I got that a lot, and that's one of the things that bugs me is when people say, "Oh, you don't look like an ex-offender." Well, you tell me what one does look like, or you don't look like somebody who's survived domestic violence. Will you tell me what someone looks like? What's your stereotype of them? I'd be intrigued to know. It affects everybody, it can affect anyone, and that's the thing. It's and you never know what anyone's been through. But I have got a podcast out. Quick plug for myself. But it's it came out yesterday. It's on the my link is on my Facebook page. It's open, so it's public, and I think Deez shared it today. And that's got it's a long one. It's an hour and 30 something minutes, but that's about stuff that I've gone through and stuff that I'm trying to help and do. So if you've got a chance to watch it, do. But if you have got triggers around addictions, domestic violence, and exploitation and stuff, beware. But there is a trigger notice on it. So,
do you have Instagram?
I do, yes. Yeah, I've had to set up a new one because my other one got hacked, which was a pain. So I've got that, but I think it's you put it down. If not, I'll just put it in the Facebook link. So you've got that.
Yeah, it's on there. We've got that.
Absolutely brilliant. So all I would say is that sign up to our newsletter. You're going to get all the information of the things that we're doing. Sign up to the newsletter and share, and watch us back on YouTube and Facebook and Pam Tango Radio.
Yeah.
And we are going to be back next Tuesday for some more, 12 to 12:30.
Yes,
okay, see you guys later. All right.
See you
Bye-bye.
Bye.